Hey everyone, so today I just wanted to hop on here real quick and make this video. So as all of you know, this past weekend, the new Lion King movie was released into theaters. Of course, I went Friday night with one of my best friends of about 8 years. We've watched these movies all the time together. It was one of those things we always did. So of course, to commemorate that, we decided we're gonna go see the Lion King because we had to go see it. Anyway, so before I get into this video, I just want to say that The Lion King is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So you're probably all thinking, well, that probably means you're going to be a little biased while talking about this. Yes and no. Basically, honestly, when this movie was first announced, I had such a high standard set for it because it is The Lion King and it is a movie that is very near and dear to my heart. The originals helped me through so many hardships, so many troubles in my life. Whenever my life was just going nowheres and I just was in despair, I could always go back to The Lion King to get back to my happy place and to just feel better. As they say in it, Hakuna Matata, it means no worries. So it really helped me through a very dark and difficult part of my life. So it is very special to me. But see, because of that high standard that I was talking about, I was almost afraid to go see this movie because of all of the negative criticism it got on from the early screening on Thursday. From all the rumors of the changes they were making to the cast, all that stuff. I was literally terrified to go see this movie on Friday because I know that I would never be able to forgive them if they really royally messed it up because it is such a big movie. It's one of their best ones they've ever made, and it's very special to a lot of people, myself included. But yeah, no, that being said, I also told myself going in that I had to go in there with an open mind, that yes, I'm watching The Lion King, but it's obviously going to be different. So to just go in not expecting The Lion King, but still kind of expecting the same basic storyline of The Lion King, just executed differently. And that being said, let's get into it. And also, if you notice I'm looking down, it's because I have a little notebook with a list of things I want to touch on for this video. So let's get to it. Alright, so the animation, the CGI, we're going to call it CGI because that's what it is. I love how people keep calling it a live action remake when it's literally all computer animated. Like, CGI animated remake would be a better term to call it, but no one's going to call it that. So let's just deal with it. But yeah, no, honestly, I liked the animation. I thought the CGI looked good. It was realistic looking, which I know not everyone is going to enjoy. That's fair. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, Because I know one of the biggest complaints out there was that the CGI made it too realistic and kind of took away from it being a cartoon, which, it's fair. That's fair. But at the same time, you gotta think CGI animation is what's trending right now for these movie companies. Disney has just been on a roll with the CGI animated flicks right now. So that's clearly what they're going to be doing. It's a new it's a new way to make movies. It's a new style. It's almost like when they went from hand-drawn to computer. A lot of people didn't like that. Everyone has their preference, Personally, I just think if the story's good and it's visually appealing, and, character, story, music, all that other fun stuff, it's great, I have no real preference. No, that's a lie. I do prefer hand-drawn. I find that it looks better. I don't know, it brings me back to a time in my childhood. I mean, yeah, no, I grew up in the early 2000s, but I was born in the late 90s, so I did watch a lot of the older movies, like Cinderella, Snow White, Lion King, obviously, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, all of the older hand drawn stuff, kind of before Pixar and all the computer animated stuff started happening. I watched a lot of the hand drawn classic Disney movies. Robin Hood, another one. Stuff like that. Anyway, back to the Lion King though. Yeah, no, that the lions looked good, all the animals looked good. Honestly, adult Simba was amazing looking. I love it. It was so realistic. I felt like I was looking at a real lion, and I loved it. I cannot get enough of it. Yeah, no, I really have no complaints on the animation. Like I said, it's a different way to do it. So I went in there. I'm still in there with an open mind, trying to, piece together my thoughts and my opinion on it. Yeah, no, the animation was good. There was nothing wrong with it. Again, I understand how some people could be against it, but at the end of the day, what are you gonna do, right? Right. So voice acting. Yes, the voices. Oh my God, the voices. It was great. I mean, on the one hand, I feel like the whole cast kind of had a bit of pressure on them. I mean, that's some big shoes to fill. There is a legacy with the Lion King, so it's like if the voice, if your voice acting sucks, it's like that's a lot of pressure, and you're gonna get a lot of hate from a lot of angry, diehard Disney fans, But luckily, well, at least in my opinion, the voice acting was great. Again, another point I want to touch on is for characters like Sarabi, who's Simba's mother, and Rafiki, whose original voice actors sadly passed away. Madge Sinclair, Sarabi's voice actress, passed away, I want to say somewhere between the first and second Lion King movie. Yes, there's like 3 Lion King movies, in case you guys didn't know. But if I'm right, somewhere between the first and the second one, Madge Sinclair had passed away. And if I'm right, a couple years ago, Rafiki's voice actor passed away as well. So I feel like for them, I was excited to see what these new actors are going to bring, but at the same time, it's almost, you're carrying on someone's legacy, because it's their character that you're bringing back to life, in a sense, So it's almost like, not to say it like that, but if you mess it up, would not want to be you if you mess it up. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, I was, God, I'm rambling again. My bad. But for Simba, I was really happy with Donald Glover. He did a great job. Even the singing was great, but we'll touch on the singing actually in the next point that I'm gonna make, like after the voice acting here. It was really good. I was really amazed and impressed. I was just in love with it. I loved all the added dialogue that came in for Simba's character. I loved even the way he delivered the lines, because you can read a line from the movie. Like, I do it all the time. I read the lines, and I can say it in any tone, any way I want. But to be able to grab a line that someone else has recorded about 25 years ago, and then add your own spin to it, and, add extra words, take out some words, and, just really give the character new life. I have so much respect for those people, I don't know how, I'm just so amazed with the talent. All right. And Nala. I loved Nala. I know a lot of people were kind of iffy on the idea of Beyonce being Nala. I know at first I was one of them. I won't deny that I was. But my main concern, I should say, with that was that when it came time for the music, that they were gonna change the feel and the tones of the music for the Lion King and not stay true to the Lion King's musical style, I should say, and really make it a little bit more to Beyonce's musical style, which, wouldn't have been awful, but just it wouldn't have been Lion King, Um, but then they released that little snippet of Can You Feel the Love Tonight on Twitter. At least that's where I saw it. And guys, I started crying as soon as I saw it. As soon as I saw that little 30-second clip of the movie with the song, I started crying because all of my concerns, all my worries about the music just vanished because I knew it was in good hands. It sounded great. She sounded great. And honestly, I love what they did with the character with Nala, but we'll touch on that momentarily. Also, I just want to take a moment to really express how thankful I am that James Earl Jones came back to play Mufasa, because I remember when this movie was first announced about 4 years ago. All of my friends were tagging me in these articles saying about the announcement, saying, oh, well, you must be so excited. Oh my God, look, it's The Lion King. We know you love The Lion King. Literally, in my friend circle, that's what I'm known for. I am known as, oh, she's the one who loves The Lion King. Anyway, they were all tagging me in it, so eventually I just started telling everyone, honestly, if they don't get James Earl Jones to come back and play Mufasa, I'm not going to see the movie. Because in my eyes, James Earl Jones is just such an iconic voice. He's Mufasa. It's very iconic. You can't do The Lion King without Mufasa. That's like trying to do Star Wars without Darth Vader. I only say that, honestly, because James Earl Jones voices both Mufasa and Darth Vader. So it's the first example that came to mind. But, again, you can't do an iconic movie without the iconic voices. I would feel like it would be wrong if they decided to remake, from scratch, reboot all the Star Wars movies and then completely change Darth Vader's voice, I would feel very uncomfortable with it. But that's just me. And again, obviously, I do have a high standard for The Lion King, and it is a very special movie to me. So I do have certain things that I'm very nitpicky on about it. But either way, I was just very, very thrilled when the cast list finally dropped and it said he was coming back. I mean, everyone in my friend circle, even my family, they all, when they heard about it, they all knew, oh, she must be over the moon. He's coming back. He's going to be Mufasa. It's going to be wonderful. And honestly, that was the only thing I really wanted in this movie when they first announced it, before anything was really revealed as to the changes they were making. When they first announced the movie saying, oh yeah, by the way, guys, in 2019, we're going to be doing a reboot of The Lion King. First thing I wanted was, Mufasa's gotta be Mufasa. It can't be anybody else. And even at that, I even told people, the rest of the movie can be complete garbage. I will be happy as long as he's in the movie. But that's just me and my weirdness, I guess. No, even the voices for Timon and Pumbaa were good. I enjoyed it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not Ernie Sabella and Nathan Lane like in the original. Those two were a really hilarious duo, but this time around it was still very funny. The comic relief was definitely there. The jokes they were making, half the time they were poking fun at the original movie, which was wonderful. I love it when they do that, when Disney is able to poke fun and address things that they did in their earlier movies. It's great. I love it. It's almost like in Zootopia there, where when the police chief is telling Judy how life isn't just, you sing a song and it's, all fabulous and everything works out for you, so let it go. Because Frozen had come out just a few years prior to that, and it was hilarious, Disney is addressing their own jokes, addressing their own things that they're doing, it's amazing. But yeah, no, I even thought the chemistry between the two actors was great. Yeah, no, and I still think it's hilarious how the whole world was so disturbed by what Pumbaa was going to look like, as if they've never seen a warthog before. Like, what were they expecting? The cartoon really it was very cutesy, you know? They really made it appealing for kids, you know, to not look like a real animal. That was the whole point. But this time around, like I said earlier, they made them very realistic looking. Even Timon looked really realistic as a meerkat, you know? And like it was really good. Um okay. Music. Again, I had already talked about Can You Feel the Love Tonight because that was one of my biggest concerns because Can You Feel the Love Tonight is such an iconic song from this movie. Like you say Lion King, everybody thinks either Akuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, and Circle of Life. Those are like the top 3 songs that you think of, you know? So I was so happy with Can You Feel the Love Tonight. I loved how it almost had a theatrical Broadway-y sound to it. Like when I was first listening to it, I actually thought I was listening to the Broadway version, like with the same lyrics for a bit, until we hit the end of the song and they don't do that bit from the end of the Broadway one, which I kind of almost wish they would have done. You know, because I find the lyrics at the end are so beautiful between Simba and Nala in the musical that honestly it would have been amazing to see that in the movie. But that's another conversation for another time. Circle of Life was amazing, as always. Literally for the first, like, 30 seconds of it, I legit thought they just grabbed the original and put it in the movie. And then I realized, no, this one's kind of different. The vocals are a little different. And it was still essentially the same song, but it was redone, and it was great. I Just Can't Wait to Be King. I was honest, I'll be real here. I was a little bummed that they didn't really try to replicate the scene from the original, and I get why they didn't, because in the original it's all very colorful and magical looking, kind of like Be Our Guest in Beauty and the Beast was in its movie. So they kind of really dulled it down a little, and they just kind of did the number, which is fine. You know, it was still good, and honestly, the vocals were good. The vocals were great. It was so fun. It was a really fun scene to watch too, like just watching them interact with all the other animals and just running around and all that. It was great. Again, I know a lot of people were concerned that they weren't going to put Be Prepared in the movie, and they didn't. I'll be upfront with you guys about that. Spoiler alert, I guess. They didn't put the song in the movie, and that's fair. You know, I can see why. At the same time, I can see it as the creative force behind the movie making these decisions, but I also see it as the viewer who remembers this movie from growing up, and you know, who still watches the movie all the time. Like, literally, all the time. But what they did do is they put this weird little, like, 2-minute, like, talk-singing thing that Scar does when he's revealing his plan to the hyenas to kill Mufasa and Simba and all that. And it almost made me think of, like, a sort of reprise of Be Prepared, you know, because it had the same feel, kind of. They still said Be Prepared a bunch of times in it, you know. They did the whole yes, our teeth and ambitions are bared thing, which made me happy, you know, because like, okay, we didn't cut the song completely, I guess. It was interesting to say the least, you know, like it wasn't the same, obviously, but it was very different, but it was like a pleasantly different experience, so to speak. Okay. What's next? Oh, right. Akuna Matata. Oh my god. That was funny. Because, again, Timon and Pumbaa's dynamic, much like in the original, they're very funny together, and they feed off each other a lot, I find. And, again, a lot of it, they made a lot of jokes, kind of going back to the original, and kind of addressing some of those things. Like, I really don't want to spoil it for anyone, but the soundtrack's out, so I'm not really spoiling anything. You know, if you guys are listening to the soundtrack, like I was before the movie, and to get hyped, you're going to hear this bit anyway. But there's a bit in Hakuna Matata where in the original, Pumbaa would have said, "And I got downhearted every time that and then Timon would jump in and say, Pumbaa, not in front of the kids. Oh, sorry. And then they'd keep going. But this time around, Pumbaa goes, every time that I farted, why aren't you stopping me? To almost address what they did in the first one. And I thought, when I first heard it before watching the movie, I thought that was the funniest thing. I couldn't wait to see that bit. And I wanted to see them interact with that because it was just such a funny thing to add to the song. And I really loved it, you know? And they just kept going. They fed off each other like that. And even before they started the song, they're like deciding who gets to count off, like, you know, the 1 and a 2 and to get into the song. They were arguing about that at the end when Simba's like still singing along at the end and like the music's dead and he's still like, you know, just riffing and they're like commenting on it and like saying like, Pumbaa, he's riffing the song. This is our song, you know? This is our song. Why do we let him in on the song? And they were making so many jokes throughout the whole thing. It was wonderful, you know? And like they addressed a lot of the jokes they made. And that's something I really enjoyed. I mean, the theater was full of laughter by the time we hit Hakuna Matata, which is exactly what Hakuna Matata's for. Because, I mean, that's right after the scene, you know, the stampede. So, you know, you're sobbing mess like me and my friend were on Friday. So by the time you're there, you get to Hakuna Matata and you're laughing, you're smiling, you're singing along, you're having fun. You know, because that's what that song was for, you know, I feel. Again, we already talked about Can You Feel the Love Tonight, so I won't bore you guys with that anymore, even though that is one of my all-time favorite Disney songs, one of my favorite love song, my favorite duet. Actually, it's my favorite in a lot of different Disney categories. You know, like favorite love song, favorite duet, favorite, you know, just Disney song, favorite, you know, it's in a lot of lists for me. You know, it's one of those songs that, you know, it's amazing. It's so beautifully written. It's the music, just everything about it. Like, girl, I sing that one all the time, only because it's such a pretty song, you know. So yeah, that's all for music. Story. Oh my goodness. A little bit of a background info on me. I am a aspiring writer. My dream is to actually work for Disney and write their movies. I know that's kind of like, wow, you got big dreams. Maybe you should aim a little lower type thing, you know? But, so as someone who's trying to get into the writing business and trying to write her own stuff all the time, I'm constantly reading, constantly watching, which is the funnest part of having this as what you want to do. You know, you're always kind of dissecting movies, always dissecting stories. So, honestly, I have dissected The Lion King so many times. I have broken it down and put it all back together again many, many times. Literally, if you don't believe me, ask any one of my real-life friends. They've heard me go on and on for hours about it and about the different plot points, different story things, different character stuff, all of it. I'm always talking about it. Yeah, people almost tell me to shut up at this point. But no, story-wise, it was still The Lion King. You know, it was the exact same. Well, I say the exact same. It wasn't the exact same story, but the basis of it were there. You know, like we still had the same key points in the story. You know, like obviously we had the stampede. Obviously we had when Nala finds Simba. Clearly we have when Simba goes back, and you know, we have the circle of life bit. We have the elephant graveyard scene with Simba and Nala when they're cubs and getting chased by the hyenas, you know. We do have those key scenes. But a lot of the stuff that happens between those kind of changed, and it was kind of nice. You know, it added depth to the story. It added information that was never confirmed nor denied in the original, so it's not like you can because I know that the fandom type people like me will go, well, is it canon? Technically, does this count as canon in the Lion King universe? So yeah, I know I'm one of those people, so I know what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, no, see, this is stuff that really it's not really confirmed nor denied in anything if it's accurate or not. So that's kind of fun, and it gives you a new take on some of the characters. Like I said, Sarabi, or did I say it? I don't think I did. Example, Sarabi's character, was a little more badass this time around than she was in the original, and she was pretty badass in the original. This time around, there's added scenes, added dialogue with her that actually makes her such this strong female character, like, because she was the queen, for the longest time, and she has that leadership ness to her, for lack of a better term. She is like almost a natural born leader in the sense, and a lot of the scenes added to the movie really showed that she was still, looking out for the pride, looking out for, her fellow lions. She was looking out for everybody in that sense, while, dealing with Scar being king and the fact that her, Mufasa's dead, her son's dead, all that stuff, which, most people would not be able to deal with all that pressure, like all that stuff piling up on top of you. A lot of us would not be able to deal with that. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I know that. So they added stuff there that made her, they added stuff to her, which was great. It actually made her character a little more well-rounded in the sense that, whereas in the original, you only really saw her at the beginning of the movie, and then a little bit at the end. That's really all you saw of her, and that was it. This time around, you actually see her a lot more as the story goes, which was pretty cool, I enjoyed that. Again, that was kind of going into my next point about characters, but that's okay. But yeah, no, story-wise, they added a lot of fun little twists, a lot of fun little things to it. Again, don't want to say too much because this stuff could ruin, I don't want to ruin someone's experience watching this movie, because I know I avoided spoilers for that entire day because my aunt actually watched it the night before me. So, and she was telling me how good it was, and I told her, actually I did tell her, spoil this movie for me and I'm blocking your number until Monday. So I understand not wanting to be spoiled of the changes in a movie. Kind of like in Aladdin, I didn't want to know necessarily what was going to change from the original. And same thing for Beauty and the Beast. Did not want to know what they were taking out, what they were putting in. Did not want to know any of that. I just wanted to experience the movie for myself. So that's why I'm trying to keep this very, very vague, so I don't spoil anything for anyone who might be dying to go see this movie and just hasn't had the time yet. Been there, done that, I feel that. So yeah. Characters. Like I already said, for Sarabi, they added some stuff about her. They added information about her that made her a more well-rounded character. And I feel the same way about Nala. I find this time around, honestly, I think after watching this remake, I love Nala even more than I did before. Because Nala's always been one of those really strong, badass characters that I really liked from the movie. I always liked her for, not putting up with anyone's crap, really. Like, she didn't put up with Scar's crap, she didn't put up with Simba's crap, she didn't put up with nobody's crap, she's like, not doing this, I'm gonna do this my way. And I love that about her. So this time around, they actually made her more like that, which was great, It was awesome, to see her, again, a little more well-rounded. Plus, again, this time around, too, she had a little more dialogue in the movie, which is great because, Nala, she's like one of the best characters in the movie, if you ask me. I always loved Nala, always loved her spirit, always loved her bravery, the way she presented herself, just the way she did things, She got stuff done in that movie, let's be real. Um, so I always really liked that, and to see her more well-rounded and evolved this time around, more and showing more of those traits that, we love about her. It was wonderful. Um, also, in terms of characters, I gotta say Scar. Oh my lord, girl. Sorry. Scar was actually really like, I don't want to say terrifying because I didn't find him scary, but I feel like if I was a little kid going to watch this movie, I would be terrified of Scar. Like, Scar was intimidating. Um, and even the way he spoke, he spoke in a very calculated way. He spoke in a way that sounded truly evil. Like, there's no remorse, there's no, even when he's like in the like after the stampede scene when he's comforting Simba, even at that point it doesn't even sound like he's, because in the original you can almost hear how he's at least trying to make it sound like he's trying to be nice to Simba and trying to comfort him and all that, but this time around, no, it was just all cold and dark, and my god. I liked it though. I mean, it was a good change. I mean, plus I think finally people might see where I'm coming from when I say Scar is like the evilest villain Disney has. Cause hello, he killed his own brother and he tried to kill his nephew. He actually succeeded in his plan. He actually became king. But whatever, I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah. So with all that said, we're finally reaching the end of this. Thank goodness. Overall, the movie was great. It was definitely an experience. How can I put this? It was The Lion King, but it was very different. It was a whole different experience than watching the original. Like, to give a little context to this, because I know you're probably going to say, well, it wasn't a movie theater, it could be a little different. Okay, I've actually seen the original when they re-released it in 3D back in, it was either 2010 or 2012. I can't remember exactly. But I went to see the original in 3D at the theaters that year. And it was great. I loved it. I love Lion King. It was wonderful. But this time around, it was so different. It was like such a different experience. It almost made you feel like you've never seen the movie before. Like, there were times I was sitting there and I was questioning whether or not the movie was going to have the same ending. I was like, well, is Simba going to go back? Is he going to defeat Scar? Is he going to become king? I'm really starting to question myself here, And there was like a lot of those times where you'd see things that were done differently and you'd start questioning. Like, is this going to have the same happy ending as the original? And I think that's what makes a remake really good, is when you forget that you already know how the story ends, You forget that you know what happens. Because it really makes you wonder, like, oh my god, is he gonna go back? Is he gonna stay in the jungle? It really makes you wonder, and I think that's the sign of a good remake of something. Yeah, no, I mean, it was amazing. It was so different, but it was familiar but so different, And I can't stress that enough, how different it was. But at the same time, it was still very familiar. It was still the same story, Definitely recommend going to watch it if you haven't yet. Disney's not joking when in all of their little advertisements right now is saying that it's the must-see movie of the summer. They are not kidding. I think this is probably going to be one of their best movies this year. I mean, this has been a long time coming, probably the most anticipated one in their lineup for this year. And I guarantee you, the minute this is available for pre-order, I am buying my copy. I am reserving that. I need that for my collection. It was amazing. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about The Lion King. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and sorry if I was kind of rambling a lot, and I know I talk with my hands quite a bit. I think I get that from my dad. But yeah, if there's any other kind of videos you guys want to see me do on this channel, just leave me a comment down below, and I'll see what I can do. Bye.